You're not stating facts, you're stating opinions.
Mr. Secretary, Black and brown Americans feel like they are under attack by this administration. President Trump has ordered state legislators across the country to redraw maps to dilute Black political representation. Moreover, Trump has weaponized the DOJ to go after groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because of the work that they've done to expose white supremacy groups.
A tenfold miss on the record from the man who sets the tone for how the world prices American economic credibility. Let's go through why that matters beyond one bad quarter. I'm Marcus Reed, House Ways and Means Committee, June 4th Rep. Terry Sewell of Alabama's 7th District, questioning Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, not on ideology, on a number he put on the public record himself. This matters to what I cover, because Treasury forecasting credibility isn't just a domestic talking point. It's an input into how foreign central banks and sovereign holders of U.S. debt price their confidence in American fiscal management.
Mr. Secretary, you promised the American people that the big, beautiful bill would lead to big economic boom for the American people. In a statement you made on July 3rd, 2025, after the passage of the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, you said that the legislation would unleash growth in the American economy. Republicans pledged that it would stimulate economic growth and lead to an additional $2.4 trillion in government revenue. However, the most recent GDP data shows that the economy barely grew in the last quarter of 2025 at a rate of only 0.5% and continues to fall below expectations in the first quarter of 2026.
Here's the mechanism that makes this more than a bad news cycle. Bessent's 5.4% figure came from the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now tracker, a real-time nowcasting tool explicitly not designed as an official forecast. Publicly attaching that number to a policy promise, then watching actual GDP land at roughly a tenth of it, is the kind of forecasting gap that foreign holders of U.S. Treasury debt factor into how much they trust the next number out of that office. Sovereign credibility isn't built on perfect accuracy. It's built on the gap between promise and outcome, staying small enough to trust the next promise.
Time and time again, you told the American people not to believe their own eyes or what's in their bank accounts, while families have been hit with higher costs from Trump's illegal tariffs and his costly war on a war of choice in Iran. This administration continues to insist that the economy is thriving. The reality, sir, especially for the folks that I represent in Alabama, is that you forecast a 5.4% growth in GDP for the fourth quarter 2025 and only delivered a 0.5% growth. The reality is that wages have fallen behind rising inflation and that job growth dramatically slowed down since Trump took office. Mr. Secretary, I'm asking you rhetorically the following questions. I ask you, why was your analysis so wrong? And I'm asking you rhetorically, since you've shown yourself not to be able to answer questions on this side. So let me try to answer it. Could it be that Trump's illegal tariff or the cost of the war of choice in Iran were the reasons why your analysis was off? Whatever the reason, I want you to know that the people that I represent in Alabama are hurting under this economy. Prices in Alabama have fallen by 3.6% over last year. Energy prices are up 18%, and exports of Alabama products and services have dropped by $3 billion since President Trump took office. In addition, the Iran war has cost American households over $100 billion.
That 100 to billion figure is Sewell's own accounting. Stated on the record, I want to be precise that this is her claim, not an independently audited government figure I've verified elsewhere. But even treated as a contested estimate, it points to something real. U.S. intervention costs are increasingly being tallied and debated in domestic hearings without the administration proactively disclosing comparable figures itself. That asymmetry, Congress doing the cost accounting the executive branch hasn't published, is itself a transparency gap worth noting.
I'm asking you rhetorically the following questions. I ask you, why was your analysis so wrong? And I'm asking you rhetorically, since you've shown yourself not to be able to answer questions on this side. So let me try to answer it. Could it be that Trump's illegal tariff or the cost of the war of choice in Iran were the reasons why your analysis was off? Whatever the reason, I want you to know that the people that I represent in Alabama are hurting under this economy. Prices in Alabama have fallen by 3.6% over last year. Energy prices are up 18%, and exports of Alabama products and services have dropped by $3 billion since President Trump took office. In addition, the Iran war has cost American households over $100 billion. Grocery prices are rising faster than any time in the last 4 years, and gas is over $4 a gallon in Alabama.
Again, this is Sewell's district-level figure, stated for the record rather than independently confirmed by outside reporting I've found. What it illustrates, regardless of the precise number, is the general tariff transmission mechanism. Retaliatory tariffs from trading partners reduce demand for American exports state by state, and that cost shows up in specific congressional districts long before it shows up in national headlines.
Mr. Secretary, your economy, this economy under this administration is failing the American people, and we can and must do better. My second question, or my second topic I'd like to discuss is what's going on. Sir, I haven't asked you one single question.
I will point out
Mr. Chairman, I asked to reclaim my time. I'm not asking him a question. I'm stating facts.
You're not stating facts, you're stating opinions.
Mr. Secretary, Black and brown Americans feel like they are under attack by this administration. President Trump has ordered state legislators across the country to redraw maps to dilute Black political representation. Moreover, Trump has weaponized the DOJ to go after groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because of the work that they've done to expose white supremacy groups that are often supporters of President Trump. I am asking you, sir, that if the IRS plays a role in these cases, I ask that you ensure that the IRS is not improperly influenced by the president or this administration during the duration of that case, and I trust that you will make sure that that does happen. Lastly, Representative Davis and I sent several letters to the IRS, and I think that Representative Davis, during his questioning of you, asked you about it. This most recent tax season was the first time that the president signed an executive order in September of last year that ceased paper refund checks from being issued. This decision to upend paper checks has led to a significant delay in refunds for those taxpayers. And I understand in your response to Mr. Davis, you said that 95% of those that receive their refunds get them electronically. Well, I represent the 5% that do not have access to electronic repayment. Those folks need paper checks, and they need their refunds now. I trust that this administration will do all that it can to make sure that all Americans, irrespective of whether they're unbanked or have access to electronic payment, that they get their refunds. And Mr. Davis asked a question that you didn't answer, but I'd like to answer it for you. We're asking that you and your office, that the Treasury Department, work with us to make sure that our constituents get their refund checks.
I will commit to do that.
Thank you, sir. I yield back the balance of my time.
That was the first I've seen. And to be clear, that number 5.4% was the Atlanta Fed GDP need now, but I know that's inconvenient. So,
watch this move specifically. Bessent tries to reframe Sewell's figures as political opinion. She rejects the reframe. A forecast, a dollar figure, a district-level trend are not opinions, whether or not you agree with the conclusions drawn from them. That distinction matters because it's exactly the kind of move, treating hard numbers as interpretive disagreement, that foreign counterparts watch for when deciding whether U.S. economic statements can be taken at face value. Here's my assessment. A single missed forecast doesn't break U.S. credibility on its own. What matters is the pattern. A tenfold GDP miss, built on a tool not meant for public forecasting, war and trade costs that had to be extracted under questioning rather than disclosed proactively, and an instinct to characterize hard numbers as opinion when confronted with them, individually survivable. Together, this is exactly the kind of pattern that erodes slowly, hearing by hearing, the premium the world has historically paid to hold American debt and trust American economic statements. That premium is one of the quietest and most valuable assets in American grand strategy, and one of the easiest to spend down without anyone in the room realizing it. Marcus Reed, The Reed Assessment. Outro. If this connected the numbers to the bigger picture, subscribe. The assessment, not the outrage.